Very nice.
So
Um,
yeah.
so I'm really excited to talk to you. I love your wines. They were something that were such a refreshing surprise. I'm not, this is sacrilege, but I'm not the biggest Provençal rosé fan. I think it's fine. I think it's good. I think it's easy to drink, but I'd never
Uh-huh.
been wowed. And then one day someone gave me Clos Cibonne and my life changed. And I think a lot of people have had that experience. So I was very happy that you wanted to speak with us and talk to my guests and my customers and talk to us about who you are, what the estate is, why what you do is so incredibly special and different. So I was
Uh-huh.
wondering if you would just start in telling me who you are and how you're related and what you do specifically at the winery.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Olivier Deforges. So I'm the fifth generation of the estate. I did my study in Bordeaux and in Montpellier before to living for 1 year in Australia for wine tasting and also to do an harvest there. And after that, I came back to help my family to continue to work on the estates.
Uh-huh. And so when are you making the wine or do you have a winemaker? Do you assist? Are you doing the
No, no,
farming?
no. We are a small company.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we are only five to work at the estate. So you have my mom, my dad. So my mom is much more taking care about the accountability.
Uh-huh.
My dad is much more concerned to the business
Mm-hmm.
and how the work is on the estates. And for my part, I take care about all the production.
Wow.
So I do the vines works, and also the cellar works.
Wow. All with
So yeah,
just you. How many hectares is that? How many acres or hectares do you have that you're
so,
working?
we have 17 hectares in production, and we just get from 6 months ago we get 5 more hectares, but without vine for the moment, but it will be replanted.
Wow. So you purchased new land?
Yeah, exactly. And
Wow.
just close to our place. It's just across a road, so it's perfect for us.
Is that something that's easy to do in your area? I know places out in
Not
other places of
really.
France it's impossible. So how is that? How do you guys go about doing that?
In fact, the story it's a bit dramatic. My neighbor died a few years ago,
Sorry.
and he gave to the government some all his land to the government, and the government choose to rent it to different producers. And so we candidate to these, and we get everything. So it was really nice for us to have these.
Did he already have grapes planted or was it just empty land?
For the moment, we have 1 hectare of olive trees.
Oh, nice.
So we will start to do some olive oils maybe this year. We will see
Cool.
how it will be. So
Yeah,
maybe one day you will have some olive oil from Clos Cibonne
that would be
in
amazing.
US.
And
Yeah,
so
and
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, what were
yeah,
you
and
saying?
all the rest was planted, but everything died till a long time.
Oh,
So for the moment, we just put everything clear, and we are waiting to replanting one part maybe next. So yeah, that will be great. That
mm-hmm.
will be a new land for us. And as you said, yeah, it's quite hard to find some vineyard in the area, or only some fields to buy or to rent in the area, because we are at the start of the Côte d'Azur,
Mm-hmm.
and many people just keep the lands from them to one day if it could be buildable. And so it's really hard to have these some land in this moment to buy it or rent it. And so yeah, we try to find some. But as for as I told you, we are only 5 on the estate, so I have only one more person with me who is working on the estate. So for 2 person, it's already a big work.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if we find other lands. We will see if we can get it, or we will see when everything will be planted on these 5 new hectares.
Yeah. So I know a little bit about the history of your estate. I've researched and written a few articles about your wines in the past, but for those who don't know, can you tell everyone why Clos Cibonne historically became something people knew about?
Uh-huh. So so I'm just near the castle who is just over there.
Wow.
It's one of the doors of the castle. Now it's in ruin. Ruin.
Yes.
It's destroyed.
Yeah.
And so in fact, this castle was owned by the Count of Cibonne, who was one of the general of Lafayette. And in the 17 he went to US to help for the independence war. And when he came back to France, the situation in France was quite hard because the government was starting to change. The king, it's what we call the French Revolution in 1789. So it was the last king of France. So when he saw the situation are changing, he chose to move from France to go to Gibraltar with all his family. And so during the revolution in France, the government chose to split all this land to the different farmers who were working for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so my family was one of these farmers at this time, and we're starting to have some piece of the estate in 1802.
Wow.
And till this time, it's the same family. So as I told you at the start, I'm the 5th generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the history, the first generation was much more a farmer. He has vines, but he has also vegetables and animals. So it was a little bit more as a farmer was in this time. It's not only concentrate on the vines, and but he was producing wine, but not too many in bottle. In the most part of time, he was selling his wine on the inside the village. He came to the place of the village and sell his wine directly from the barrels. And after this, his son chose to change everything, and he said to his dad that he wants to do only a winery, and he wants to do only wine.
Okay.
So at this time, so it was around 1920, 1930. They starting to do wine, and it was my great grandfather who chose to put Tiburon grapes mainly on the estate. He was a big fan. He was traveling a lot, and in fact, Tiburon came from Italy. The real history of Tiburon came from Mesopotamia at the start of the culture, and
Wow.
the Greek, then the Romans moved the grapes from Greece to Italy, and then to Italy to France, and so he arrived in Provence and stayed in Provence. but it's starting to be less and less used because after the phylloxera attack, people people want to have some grapes really easy to grow and really with big yield.
What are some of the issues with Tiburon? Why is it not easy to grow?
No. It's it's one of the hardest, in fact, in this moment in the appellation. People say Tiburon needs to see the sea to grow correctly because it's a vine who catch principally oidium and mildew disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's quite fragile with that. Also is he has a lot of leaf that grow a lot of vegetal and not too much grapes on the vines. So it's also for that it's not so much use. It's really early grapes also. So many inconveniences that people just don't want to grow in.
So people chose other varietals. I know Mourvedre, but I know that's not that high yielding of a variety either. What are people preferring over Tiburon?
Oh, they love Cinsault because it's a big yielding on these ones. They do also a lot of Grenache, a little bit of Cinsault.
Uh-huh.
But you find much more some Mourvedre close to Bandol. After that, on Lalonde, who is at 30 minutes from here, on the coast also. They use a lot of Mourvedre and Grenache, but in the appellation, many people just try to put off Tiburon out because it's really hard to grow. And every producer I saw, every time they say, "Oh, you still have some Tiburon," it's why you have that? Why you have that?
How much Tiburon do you have in percentage in relation to your whole estate?
It's almost 80%.
Wow. So
yeah, it's huge. We are the biggest in proportion of the whole appellation.
And do other people have it planted specifically as Tiburon, or is it more just field blends, like mixed in with other varieties?
In fact, you still have some people who have some Tiburon in the appellation, but it's representing only less than 2% of the appellation. So it's less than 400 hectares. It's between 300 and 400 hectares in the appellation.
Wow.
Most part of time, people who have these used it as to blend it in a few percentage in the bottle. It's main of them. It's between 5 to 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest cuvee they have in general, they are around 30-35%, but never more.
And so why
instead of
say that again.
Instead of us, we have 90% of on each cuvee with this grape.
Yeah, but why are you going through all this trouble and this hassle when everyone says this is silly and this takes too much work? What is the big difference that you get?
For us, I think we choose to continue to work with the Tiburon because we are used to it. For me, it's not as hard to do it because I'm used to have this grape and these vines. So it's not so complicated for me to continue to work like this. You just need to be really precautious and take care about many things. There'll be more that you can do on a Grenache or a Syrah.
And what kind of farming do you have to do specifically to grow it besides being in view of the sea? And I heard you had to kind of prune a little shorter to help with the what's the word when it's over when it grows too much.
Yeah.
But the words are escaping me. So what kind of farming, do you have other treatments you have to apply, or just very specific decisions you have to take in the fields?
Oh, in fact, it's not so. It's really close to the other, but you need to be a little bit more precautious against the disease. So we just we will be in organic in 220
Wow.
for the 220 vintage. So that makes already 3 years that we are in conversion.
Uh-huh.
So 2017 was not too hard to work because it was a really easy year to grow because it was really um, it's really dry and really sunny year. 2018 was maybe one of the hardest year I have ever done. I've talked with other producers around, and they told me they never seen that till 56.
Whoa.
So a lot of mildew. We get a lot of mildew on
It
this
was very
time.
hot as well, or was it less hot there than the
It
rest of
was
Europe?
really wet year,
Uh-huh.
really rainy.
Uh-huh.
I was ending a treatment and it was raining the day after.
Uh,
So we get out. We need to restart some few days after. But yeah, I think the particularity it's to feel a little bit more the vines and how we grow during all the evolution of the vines.
uh-huh.
So it's for that you need to be really careful about everything, every disease you can start to see on the vine or on the grapes. You need to be more precautious on this compared to the Grenache, for example.
So why did you choose to go organic since you're going to be limited in your ability to treat? What was that decision?
In fact, it was a decision that we did a long time ago. In fact, we were really close to organic before we changed it. Uh, we didn't use some how you call that Roundup.
Roundup, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, we didn't use it, and we only use some chemical treatment. Maybe on the 10 treatment we do, maybe two to three
Mm-hmm.
per year. So it wasn't not too hard to eliminate it this part to pass through organic. So we were uh, really careful about the environment because I think the thing is we are working on a field with some plants, and the thing is that if you don't take care about them from the start to the end, you cannot have something really great. So you need to be. I think organic is a good way to let the vines growing correctly.
Have you found benefits just besides making spraying no chemicals? Have you found benefits either to the quality of the wine or the surroundings that you've seen and experienced or tasted already?
That changed a little bit the vinification. In fact,
Really?
during the vinification, we saw some problem we can have with some nitrogen or thing like that
Mm-hmm.
that we need to for the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
We find a little bit more of nitrogen in the vines till we change. Also, we see the vine is growing better. I think the leaf is growing a little bit in a better way. It's more healthy. Um, the only inconvenient it's hard. It's really hard for the treatment, because we need to be more careful about that,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, it's just a new manner to think. It's not so hard, in fact.
Yeah, yeah. So going back to the history, so we get to 1920, everyone's pulling up their Tiburon, and why did I read? I think that somebody had pulled it up at the estate, and then somebody else made the decision to replant. Is that true?
Yeah. In fact, my great grandfather, when he's starting to plant the Tiburon,
Uh-huh.
uh, um, he planted only Tiburon
Okay.
everywhere on his land. And it was around 1940, 1950. It was everything was in Tiburon, and just after the war, so around 1955, the government wants to have some cru classé, like you can have in Bordeaux,
Uh-huh.
appellation. Um, so they choose to have some few estates at a really good level, to be selected to be in cru classé.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandfather was one of them who was really special by the vines, but also by the quality of the wine he was doing
Mm-hmm.
with the Tiburon grapes. So it was selected like that. And after that, he was one of the person in the appellation one of the person in the area who created the appellation in the 70s, with other viticulture. And it was uh, it's him who chose to put Tiburon in the main grapes on the appellation contracts, because at the start, as practically nobody had some Tiburon in the area, they chose to put it in a second part of the appellation. So he could not continue to do practically 100% of Tiburon, and and so um, and so he chose to talk about with the other producers to say, yeah, how I could be a cru classé and don't to be in the appellation, uh, because I'm doing Tiburon. And so why people just put Tiburon in the main grapes, and it will be better. And so after that, people starting to think about it, and they thinking, yeah, it could be a normal that cru classé couldn't be in the appellation, so they choose to put Tiburon. But the only thing that he cannot arrive to have, it's to have 100% Tiburon grapes on the appellation. So it's for that we are doing 90% of Tiburon and 10% of Grenache on each cuvée we have in rosé.
So even though your great grandfather proved that this grape was worthy and that it made very amazing rosé, they still wouldn't let the appellation rules consist of having 100% Tiburon. You had to add something else.
Yeah, exactly. You
Wow.
need to have um, at the minimum two main grapes.
Uh-huh.
So Tiburon and Grenache are the main grapes, and it's a minimum of 10% each.
Okay.
So for that we have 90 and 10.
10, as little as possible.
So yeah, we just do the
That's funny.
minimum.
Um, so anyone who's tasted your rosé, and if you haven't, I strongly encourage you to, any of your rosés really, might notice that there's a slightly different flavor that comes out that they may recognize is similar to something like sherry or something like some of the wines from the Jura. Can you talk about A, what that flavor is for people that don't know, and then B, why you make wine the way you do, and how and why you make wine the way you do?
Yeah, so we have different wine in rosé. on the estates. So the particularity of them, it's principally the 90% of the Tiburon and the 10% of Grenache. We do a traditional fermentation, so direct press, and after that we have some control temperature for the fermentation, and at the end of the fermentation, from some cuvée, we put them in big barrel of 5,000 liters, and these big barrels are already 115 years.
Whoa.
So that was my great-grandfather who get it
Wow.
at the start when it started. And till this time, we continue to age the wine inside these big barrels. And so these things permit to have something totally different. The particularity of the Tiburon, in fact, is that is appreciate well the oxidation. So it's much more easy with this grape to age them in barrels, and they permit to have some spicy aromas, some on the tradition, for example, you have these white flowers, agrumes aromas, spice coming during all the mouths, and we try to do some wine really round, really long, because we work on the lees to have something a little bit more elegant. That is for the tradition. For the vignette, it's much more. We try to do a fermentation a little bit more at high temperature, to have a little bit more some red fruit coming on the mouth. We still want to continue on the fat, and so working on lees, and that permits to have something a little bit more concentrate and a little bit more wild, in fact.
So you have is it still in temperature controlled tanks for the vignette, or you just allow the temperature to be a little higher but you still control?
Oh, we still control everything.
Yeah,
we control everything. After this, we have another cuvée. It might come in US, I think. We will see. Called the Caroline. Caroline is vinified and aged in barrels. So on these ones, we don't have some temperature control, so we let the fermentation doing by itself.
Wow.
And so that permit to have something totally different. Many of the barrels are new, so we have something a little bit more on the vanilla, something a little bit more elegant, that permit to have the oak taste and the floral taste from the Tiburon coming all together. And that makes these three products really typical to eat with some good food.
Yeah.
During all year also.
Yeah, they're definitely wines. They're definitely rosé I would drink in the winter, but I'm really enjoying it right now. I mean, I also don't feel like you need them as cold as some rosé. Some rosé you need so cold. I don't really want this to be that cold.
Yeah, in fact, more you will cold the wine in rosé, red, white, more you will hide all the complexity of it. So for this one, for the tradition vignette and Caroline, you can drink them around 16 to 17 degrees. It's a little bit like the red wines, in fact, because you will have a bit more of the structure and all the elegance of the wine, in fact.
So I know Grenache is really sensitive to oxidation. Is the Grenache being aged with the Tiburon? Are you co-fermenting, or are you putting the Grenache in steel and then blending later? How do you incorporate Grenache?
Yeah, no, in fact, we try to blend it with the Tiburon straight away, like that. we can say I will put main of the Grenache with half with a Tiburon in one tanks in one
Mm-hmm.
oak barrels.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, you have the particularity of the Tiburon will help to control the oxidation, and one part of the Grenache is a little bit more fragile with this
Mm-hmm.
will be all together. So it will help. And only at the end, we will blend all the hooked barrel together.
Mm-hmm.
That we can have the 90 and the 10%.
Yeah. So I'm drinking the vignette right now. I don't know if anyone's I think most of you have seen your labels, but they're so amazing. So I have questions about both the labels and the cuvées. But for the vignette, it's 2017. That's really what most people in the world would tell you is old, quote unquote, old rosé. But this is the current vintage. How is this when you would recommend drinking it? A, B, why have 3 years before you release it?
So in fact, if I will talk about something on the label.
Okay.
If you show the label over there, you see a door on your right. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
here.
right here.
It's this one.
Cool. That's so
So
cool.
the picture it's in fact the castle with the view on the, I don't know if you see correctly, the winery on the bottom, and the
Oh
hill
yeah,
on the left. Yeah.
right here
So
is the hill.
you have all
Yeah,
the details. Yeah, exactly on
cool.
this label. Um, come back here on the vignette. Uh, in fact, as we put them in the oak barrels for a year, uh, we will have every time 1 year more compared to the current vintage for the other rosé in Provence. So now we are commercializing the 18 on the estates,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have some 17 right now. It's normal because the time that we put that in US, you will have 17, and soon I think the 18. But
Yeah. Are
yeah,
the
it's
yeah
not a big
the
deal to
yeah the
yeah.
regular one
Right
is
now it's
18. The special, no, tradition. Wait, let me guess.
tradition is 18.
Yeah. No, no, they're both 17. We have 17s
Yeah.
across the board.
I will tell you something. I prefer when it's older for me
Yeah.
because you're starting to have a little bit more of structure coming. It's not a big deal, in fact, with our rosé. You can age them really easily for many years.
I
When
recently last year I had the 2009. So that was,
yeah,
I had the 9, the 12, and the 15. I thought the 12 was outstanding. Like, I mean, just one of the best wines I had all year. And the 9 felt like it was in a sleepy phase, but it didn't feel
yeah,
dead at all. It just felt kind of, maybe it was tired that day. Like it wanted a few more years to wake back up again. It was so cool.
yeah, for sure. Because yeah, in general, the 209 is really great. I tasted in New York. What time it was? 4 years ago, and it
Okay.
was exceptional. And we drank some 2000 just before the situation we have right now, and and it was really great too. So it's not a big deal if you lose some bottle in your cellar for a couple of years, or if you want to drink it right now. The wine will be totally different.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want something really fresh, really easy to drink, drink it now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want something with a little bit more of sugary, something a little bit different, you can drink it around 10 to 20 years. And if you want something really, really old wine, really like Sauterne wine,
Uh-huh.
you can age them for 30, 40 years easily.
Wow. What's the oldest that you've had?
The oldest I have in the cellar, it's 1922. And because I didn't find some other bottles from the first generation.
Mm-hmm.
But the oldest I drink is 1958.
And what was that like?
It was a little bit at the end, but after that we drink a 61,
Okay.
and just only 3 years after, and it was really great, really, really great.
Wow.
And one of the best cuvee we try ever might be the 78.
78. I know a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
78 babies, so I'll have to find some 78s.
Yeah. I think we are the only ones to have them.
Uh-huh. And so not how long when you keep this, how does, I know there's flor used in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Is that across
Yep.
all of the cuvées, and how does that work?
So
Are you allowing it?
We used it on the tradition in the Vineyard.
Okay.
So in fact, we are used to have when we do wine, we say that we don't have to. We need to fill up every time the barrels every day. Not every day, but every week. And my great grandfather, during a period, just stopped to do it, and he felt that the wine was better, and he saw that he's starting to protect a little bit more the wine from the oxidation to do like that. In fact, you will have just a thin part of flor on top. We will also control a little bit more of the oxidation of the rest of the wine.
Because it protects the wine from oxygen by eating the alcohol, correct? And it turns into
exactly.
esters. So he made that decision whether by accident or out of laziness, or on purpose. We won't. Who knows?
We will never know. We will never know.
And so, is it something? Do you now inoculate your barrels with flor, or does it just happen?
No, it's just happened like that. In fact, the flor arriving around start of spring.
Uh-huh.
So it's at a period that we will feel it till spring, and when the spring starting, we let the wine doing itself. So when it's decreasing a little bit, you will starting to have the flor on top, and after this we're still topping, but we're topping less than we need to do. So it will be one times every month and a half, approximately.
Yeah.
So you will have this flor for a month and a half, and after that we top. It will go down again, and you restart a second time a flor.
And then you have the wine is being aged for an entire other year. So do you go through 2 cycles or multiple cycles of flor?
You will have 2 cycles of flor.
2 cycles. And do you think that contributes to the way it ages? The way it's able to age in bottle? Do you think that's a part of it?
Yeah. I think the wine, in fact, is confronted to something really hard to it's a big attack for him, for the wine to have this flor on top for a moment. So he's stronger to have this experience one time. And so with the aging, more it will be oxidating, it will know that it could protect itself. So it's for that our wine, it's really easy to age for a couple of years easily.
Yeah. So there's a few questions that some customers and friends sent that they wanted to ask. One person actually online asked who your London distributor is.
Uh-huh.
They want to know, do you have a London distributor?
We are working with importer there in
Uh-huh.
London.
Uh-huh.
But he could contact us
Okay.
if you want.
I'll tell him to contact. Lucas, who's a friend and a great customer, he wanted to know the history of the Tiburon grape, but you already told us that it came from Greece to Liguria,
Yeah.
and then over. And besides its difficulty in growing, how does it compare flavor-wise to other grapes, especially in the region?
I didn't understand.
How
Can
do
you repeat?
how do the flavors of Tiburon compare
Yeah.
to other red grapes in Provence?
Oh, Tiburon. The particularity of the Tiburon grape is they are. I can show one. I'm close to
Cool.
one grape over there. So, if you see, I don't know, you have one there. So the particularity of the grape, it's you have big berries and small berry packed all together. The grape of Tiburon have a really thin skin, and so you know that we do a red one with it, and it's really hard to extract some color on it. But it's really nice because you have many flavor inside the grape, and just this small thin skin help to extract a lot of flavors in it.
Huh. So there's a lot of flavor even though it's very thin.
Yeah.
And I see the berries are incredibly different sizes.
Yeah.
Do they ever catch up to each other, or do you pick them at these different sizes?
We do. We pick everything in same time. It's
Uh-huh.
one of the particularity of our manner to make it, because you will have some really intense acidity inside the small one, and much more flavors and sugary in the big one. So when you put them all together, you have a good osmosis
Uh-huh.
between two. And after that, it's one of the particularity will permit to our wine to age in time after these, because you have sugar and a good acidity to permit to, and also the tannins from the barrels to help to age them a little bit longer than a traditional rosé.
But they don't, I never get any, I haven't had any green flavors, any unripe flavors. So the little grapes, it's not that they're unripe, they're just more acidic.
In general, yeah, you could have these things, but in Provence we have a lot of sun, and
Uh-huh.
so even the small berries are really small.
Yeah.
They they mature. In fact, you have
Hmm.
the big berry in general are more mature than the small ones,
Hmm.
but the small are stay mature enough to be used for the fermentation.
Cool. Um, And then, I mean, I know the answer, but I know it's mostly grown in Provence and then Liguria.
Yeah.
Are there any other places? I know, so Rosese is the other name that a lot of us know Tiburon by. Are there any other places that you know of or that you think their grape is actually Tiburon or is actually Rosese?
In fact, we just know a few years ago that Rosé is really one of the cousin of the Tiburon.
Oh, okay.
It's really new. It's in fact not too many research has done on the Tiburon because it's a really small percentage of the appellation. So
Mm-hmm.
is for that you can see only few research doing on it,
Yeah.
and and um, and so we don't have so many information about what could happen in Greece or things like that. If
Mm-hmm.
some grapes are still there
Mm-hmm.
with another name maybe or things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, need to search on it.
Yeah. I have the giant book of grapes behind you, but that's about all I got out of it. So he also wants to know, we know your vineyard. Okay, so you have 17 hectares. And then he wanted to know about parcels. Is it one big continuous vineyard, or do you have plots? Is everything divided up?
It's principally a continuous estates.
Uh-huh.
Main of the estate is over there. You can see here you have practically 7 to 8 hectares.
Uh-huh.
On just all around me, in fact, it's the 17 hectares. It's really close. I have only two vineyards. One at 5 minutes from there,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not so far.
Yeah.
And the other one, it's 7 minutes from there. So I can do everything by walk.
You can
So
run.
it's yeah, exactly.
And is that limestone soil I see that's cut into the cliff right behind you?
Yeah. In fact, on the estate we have really many different kind of soil. Where I am right now is more schist
Mm-hmm.
and calcaire.
Uh-huh.
More on the bottom, it's argilo-calcaire. I have some sands totally at the bottom of the estate.
Uh-huh.
We have practically 4 to 5 different kind of soil just around us. So it's really interesting for the grapes to developing differently.
Are
So we
you
have
picking those? Are you picking those soil types separately? Or do you pick the grapes either at different times or vinify them differently based on soil type?
that will depend. In fact, when we can see some evaluation of the. Sorry for my hair.
It's great. No, it looks really good. It looks really good.
Yeah, we have different. We saw that schist will arrive a little bit later than some argilo-calcaire.
Really later, not it's not hotter. It doesn't ripen faster.
But in fact, the thing is, the vines on the bottom are more a better exposition to the sun.
Uh-huh.
So it's for that. In fact,
Okay.
it's also the soil and the exposition of the sun will change everything. But practically each year, the maturation of each area are in the same way.
Uh-huh. I noticed you're on a hill. How steep is that? Because it's hard to tell on a camera. Is that a steep hill? Is it a really low slope?
Oh, we just have, no, it's not too, maybe 20 meters
Okay.
from the bottom. Yeah, no, it's not too big.
Not
20
too
to
big.
30.
So we really quickly touched on the times we're in. You seem to be in a very beautiful place with just 5 people. Have you been very affected? Has your family been affected, or have you guys been able to stay safe and get your jobs done? How have the last 3 months been?
It was much more complicated during this period for the business because the same thing as you, restaurants were closed, so we are a lot of working with them everywhere in France and also in Europe and around the world. So it was quite hard for the business, but I had to put my employee out for this 3 months, 2 months, in fact, so they can rest a little bit.
Yeah.
Because now she came back.
Good.
And no, so I had worked a little bit more than what I was doing before. So for me, it doesn't change many things. It's just more for my dad that taking care about the business was a little bit more complicated. We are inside. We are close to the city, but really in the countryside. So it's we're really protected from everything was happen, and I didn't have the sensation to be in this situation during these 2 months, except during the weekend.
Yeah, except during the weekend. Yeah, it's definitely changed everyone's concept of weekend, I think. Very different feeling. Mark was asking if you have thoughts or opinions on how Rosé and Tiburon compare, especially I think the red grapes, when they're both made into red wine. Do you find similarities in the two? Do you drink a lot of Rosé?
Oh yeah. We my dad went to Liguria last year, and so he came back with a lot of bottles from Rosé.
Cool.
They're not too many, in fact. They are 80, I think something like 80 producers or 60 producers doing from Rosé. It's really small production of it. I think we found many particularity, specificity of what they are doing and what we are doing. The only thing we compare is on our produce. We found a better, how I can say, a better. Something a little bit more elegant, a little bit more concentrate. Also on this one, I think the terroir doing a lot between our two regions.
Yeah, I mean, you have so much sun, and they're relatively sunny, but definitely less sunny in Liguria. And I think they get so much wind, probably more wind than you do.
Oh, we have a lot of wind in the area, but it's not raining too much. So I think maybe they will do something for doing something a little bit different. In general, for the same year we are doing, we find some particularity, but in general, we are more elegant and more concentrated.
Yeah. Well,
in my opinion. But
the wines are. I think you're one producer, and there's so many different Rosés there, and they're definitely. I would say I don't know of many that are even meant for aging. To me, I want to have them fresh with seafood. I'm not looking at them to store and get older. Whereas these wines, I think they're just a little more dynamic. They just have more to offer, but maybe that's not necessarily better if you just want something fresh with seafood right away, but they definitely grow into something really, really beautiful and elegant for sure. So they're going to cut us off in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to just say thank you so much for talking to us.
That was a pleasure.
And if you had anything else you wanted to share with us, or if anyone else had any last questions that you wanted to ask Olivier, I had such a wonderful time. So thank you so much.
Thank you to interview me.
Yeah, we were happy to have you. I can't wait till all of this is over and you guys can come back and visit and be in New York again. That'd be very nice.
Thank you. That was perfect. That was perfect to have a little time with you, thinking that in New York and everywhere in US. In fact, I had to come in US in July, but I cannot because the situation is too complicated right now, and so I'm a little bit sad to didn't come to your place.
Are you guys open again? Are you open for visitors yet?
We have the president. We'll talking tomorrow. So normally we can get out of France, but only in Europe in few countries. Next week. but I'm
Okay.
not sure that it will be possible to go somewhere else.
Yeah, everyone on the chat says they want to come visit you. So whenever you open up, if you accept New Yorkers still.
Yeah, we open for the moment. We are open at the cellar door,
Okay.
at the wine shop. We have already we never closed, in fact.
Okay.
A little bit like you in Europe.
Yeah.
We were first necessity. In
Yeah,
plus.
us too. Yep. Very essential. Very essential.
Yeah. I think drinking it's a good thing to be healthy. So it's also for that.
Yes, definitely.
Permitas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, merci beaucoup, and we will hope to see you soon.
Yeah,
Have a very
and
good
I hope
day.
that I can see you one day coming to the estate to see a bit more our wonderful region and estate.
As soon as they let us out, I'm gonna be there. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Goodbye.
Bye.